I wrote a short story, so I thought I would uh, upload it online or iterate it. So I titled this The Zen Monk and the Child, and yeah, I'll just begin. There was this Zen monk that had been given permission to open the sacred texts of the Temple of Residence after being there for quite some time. The monk took a look inside the book but couldn't understand the symbols enough to be able to translate the mantras. So the monk decided to take a vow of silence for 15 years. The monk would do the same thing every day for the first 5 years. Meditate, clean the temple, rake sand, and look at the gaze of this statue which always had a perennial smile. For the next 5 years, the monk's routine became clockwork, to the point where once the monk had been finished with whatever task at hand, the bell would toll on the hour. You could almost hear the steps being counted as he timed the raking of the sand. 997, 998, 999, 1000. For the last 5 years, the Zen monk became the object of attention for all the monks residing in the temple as well as the surrounding cities. On the 364th day of the 15th year, on the 23rd hour and 20th minute, the whole town gathered around to see what the monk learned after the time of meditation. Prior to the clock striking the 24th hour, you could imagine the monk struggling with some private conversation between himself and the statue. While the monk looked perturbed, the statue remained smiling. When the bell tolled for the 24th hour, completing the 15th year, the crowd was silent. You could hear the collective breaths as if they were the wind sighing. And they waited for the monk to speak, but he just kept staring at the statue. Finally, the head monk of the temple asked his silent acquaintance, "What have you learned?" The Zen monk replied, "Nothing." And the crowd was stunned. They slowly walked away from him, wondering about the wasted 15 years of the monk's life. How could the monk not come up with a way to enlightenment after all those years of silence and searching within? Until finally only a child was left. The child was staring at the monk, who in turn was still staring at the statue. The child walked over to the monk and tapped the monk's shoulder. The monk looked at the child and said, "Yes, child." "Why did you do this?" the child asked. The Zen monk laughed, now looking like the statue he stared at so curiously. And he replied, "So you didn't have to."